Psychiatric techs care for individuals with mental or emotional conditions. In this video, we're going to help you answer the question, should you become a psychiatric tech in 2020? We're going to go over the latest salaries, job market statistics, and the latest trends. Coming up. Hey everyone, Stephen Hack here with Career Watch, where we help you with your career search. If you end up enjoying the video, hit that thumbs up to support the channel. All the charts and graphs used in this video are available at my blog at www.careerwatch.co/blog/psychiatric tech. Psychiatric techs have several roles and responsibilities. They monitor patients' physical and emotional well-being. They lead patients with mental or emotional conditions or disabilities in therapeutic and recreational activities. They help patients in rehab get through different treatment programs. For patients with mental disabilities, they can help them clean, shower, and bathe. And they can be involved in administering or injecting medications into patients. So what is the average salary of a psychiatric tech? Well, this first set of data is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It doesn't include overtime and other benefits. It only includes base salaries. In 2019, the government found that psychiatric techs make around $38,000 per year. And this is more than medical assistants and home health aides. Although psychiatric techs do make less than LVNs and LPNs, physical therapy assistants, and registered nurses. But to be fair, it requires much less education to become a psychiatric tech than a registered nurse or LVN. Really, in most states, it just requires a certificate after high school and then some on-the-job training. The good news for psychiatry techs is they have seen a little bit of wage growth over the past 2 decades. In 1999, the average base salary was recorded at around $24,000 per year, and this rose to around $38,000 per year in 2019. So this is a gain of about $14,000 over the past 2 decades, or about $700 per year. Using $700 as the average base salary, we can predict what psychiatry techs will make over the next 10 years. In 2020, the prediction would be around $38,000 per year, and then by 2029, wages should rise to around $45,000 per year. Psychiatry techs do make a different amount of money depending on experience, geography, and work environment. A starting salary for a psychiatry tech would probably be around $23,000 per year. This is the 10th percentile. Whereas someone that has lots of experience, lives in a hotter job market, the top 10% of psychiatry techs earn more than $62,000 per year. And one of the variables that influences the compensation of psychiatry techs is geography. Certain states tend to pay psychiatry techs more than others. The highest paying state for psychiatry techs is the state of California, where the average base salary is $60,240, whereas the lowest paying state is the state of West Virginia, where the average base salary is around $24,000 per year. To be fair, California is a much more expensive place to live, but this is a $36,000 difference in wages between California and West Virginia. Other high-paying states include the state of Connecticut, DC, Massachusetts, and Alaska. Another variable that goes into the compensation of psychiatry techs is work environment. This is one of the few occupations where state government tends to pay more than other work environments. State government tends to pay psychiatry techs the greatest amount of money with an average base salary of around $45,000 per year, whereas outpatient mental health and substance abuse centers tend to pay them the least with an average base salary of around $30,000. So there is about a $15,000 difference in incomes between psychiatry techs that work for state governments and psychiatry techs that work at substance abuse centers. So that covers the compensation of psychiatry techs. What is the job market like? Is this a growing field, a growing occupation, or is this a shrinking occupation? The first thing to understand is compared to similar occupations, this is a tiny field of around 78,000 employed. There are far more employed home health aides, LVNs, LPNs, medical assistants, registered nurses, and there's slightly more physical therapy assistants in the workforce. The big advantage of working in an occupation that has millions of employed and tons and tons of jobs is you get to choose where you live. You can be a registered nurse pretty much anywhere in the United States, whereas because there's only 78,000 employed psychiatry techs and not as many job openings, you kind of have to live where you would get a job or you would get an offer. So definitely keep in mind, compared to similar occupations, this is a pretty tiny field. We also have jobs data going back to 1999, just like wage data. In 1999, there was about 55,000 employed psychiatry techs. This rose to 78,470 in 2019. As you can see, it was kind of a bumpy road. It wasn't a linear line or a straight line from 1999 to 2019. There were periods of job gains and job losses. But even keeping this in mind, the government is predicting a 13% growth in the number of psychiatry techs over the next 10 years. This means they're predicting a job growth of around 10,000 employed from 2019 to 2029. And this is mostly because of demographic shifts in the US population. Our population is getting older, and people have a greater probability of having a mental illness if they're a little bit older. So this could lead to more and more employed psychiatry techs over the next 10 years. But even with this growth, this is still a small niche occupation. For psychiatry techs, the jobs are not evenly dispersed across the United States. In this map, the darker the color of blue, the greater the number of jobs. And the states that have a beige color, that means there's no data for that state. The states with the greatest number of psychiatry techs include California, Florida, and Illinois. And as you can see, many states have very limited employment opportunities. So how hard is it to become a psychiatry tech? Is it a crowded job market? Well, to determine this, I use Indeed.com. Indeed.com is arguably the #1 job search platform in the United States. It pulls in job postings from many different sources. There are a number of job titles for psychiatry techs, including psychiatric technician, behavioral health technician, mental health assistant, and in my query, I included like 5 or 6 different job titles. But this ended up giving me about 5,000 job postings across the United States. This means that there is 1 job opening per 15 employed psychiatry techs. This means that there's actually a little bit of a shortage. Anytime the ratio is between 1 and 15, this actually means there's a little bit of a shortage of psychiatry techs right now. So based off this, it's actually a little bit easier to become a psychiatry tech than some other occupations. Psychiatric techs work in a couple different work environments. 40% of them work in psychiatric and substance abuse hospitals. About 13% work in general medical and surgical hospitals. 8% work in state government. And again, that's the highest paying work environment, state government for psychiatry techs. And about 7% work in residential mental and substance abuse facilities. So would this occupation be compatible with your interests and personalities? To determine whether this occupation would be compatible with your interests, definitely look into taking a RIASEC assessment. I linked a free one below in the description. After you take a RIASEC assessment, it gives you a score in 6 different occupational themes. According to the Occupational Information Network, psychiatry techs score really high in the social themes. So if you also score high in the social theme, this occupation could be compatible with your interests. People that score high in the social theme see themselves as helpful, cooperative, kind, cheerful, and patient. This isn't surprising. To be a psychiatry tech, you definitely have to be pretty empathetic. So as you can see, there are pros and cons to becoming a psychiatry tech in 2020. Compared to similar occupations, psychiatry techs do okay. They make more than a couple similar occupations, but they are definitely out-earned by nurses and physical therapy assistants. To be fair, it typically only really requires some on-the-job training and maybe a certificate after a high school diploma to get into this occupation. Whereas to become a registered nurse and even a licensed nurse, you definitely have to get an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. This is definitely a small niche occupation. One of the dangers is you might not be able to live where you want to live. Most of the job opportunities are going to be in Florida, California, and Illinois. But the government is predicting about a 13% growth in jobs. But even with this 13% growth, this field will continue to be a pretty small field. Are you a psychiatry tech? What do you enjoy about this occupation and what do you dislike about this occupation? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.